All right, guys, what's happening? Happy Friday to you. We're running a little late this morning. It is Friday, July 1st. Half the year is gone. Friday, July 1st, 2022. This morning, we're going to keep talking about building high-level relationships. What does it look like once you build a relationship? How do you continue investing into that relationship so that you can actually build a real one that lasts the test of time, that lasts for years and the rest of your life in some cases? That's what we're going to dig into this morning. Let's get started. It is ultimately important for you to look at your goals, truly what you want to do in your life, and then look at the people who you spend the most time with in your life and figure out if that lines up. All right, guys, what's happening? Good morning to you and happy Friday. I hope you guys are having an awesome morning. I certainly am. I was late this morning because I was talking to one of my boys on the phone, Mr. William James, who was at our retreat. We were debriefing and talking about all kinds of stuff. So sorry I'm running a little bit behind here this morning, but it's good to be here with you guys. And so this morning we're going to talk a little bit about building high-level relationships, what it looks like, once you actually break through to the other side and you get connection, you get a conversation with these folks that you are looking forward to meeting. What does it actually look like? How should you handle those relationships? And I want to start out by just saying one thing. Make it natural, man. Make it easy, make it natural. Don't try too hard. One of the things that I see people often do is trying too hard to build a relationship. And it happens. It even happens with me sometimes where, people are, they're trying to do too much and it comes off, just a little strange, to be honest, to be transparent. It is about just having a real relationship, having a real friendship. And I want to tell you this because I think it's important and we all experience it, that when you do that, when you try too hard, when you, kind of make it a little weird, most of the time that's going to come from a place of insecurity for us, right? It's going to come from that thought that somehow we're not good enough or we need to impress this person because, maybe we don't feel like we belong in that situation. And the best thing that I can tell you is to not do that, to feel comfortable in your own skin. You are a human being. So is this other person. And so who you're trying to build a relationship with is just like you, has probably had the same feelings of insecurity, had the same feelings of what they call imposter syndrome today in today's world, right? But when you're trying to build a relationship, man, it's just natural, right? It's just, having the conversations, investing the time, asking great questions. And so once you build a relationship, kind of once you get to that point of being able to have a conversation with someone, what should that interaction actually look like? Well, for me, that interaction is always soaked in preparation, right? I'm always very well educated to be able to have a meaningful conversation. I can talk about the things that would likely be meaningful to them without being weird or creepy about it, right? It's not like, you let on that you know everything about this person, but you have a meaningful conversation about the things that are important to them. And you, most importantly, ask meaningful questions. So when you ask meaningful questions, you give the other person an opportunity to talk. And, one of the things that I try to stay very committed to when I'm having these types of conversations with people that I aspire to establish a relationship with or have a much deeper relationship with is trying to listen 90% of the time and talk 10. And that comes from asking the right questions of the folks that you're interacting with. And when you do that, you give them an opportunity to tell their story, to feel, significant. And so in those interactions, make sure you do a good job of carrying your part of the conversation. But it really is a great opportunity for you to ask questions, not fanboy or fangirl questions, but meaningful questions, right? And if you do your research and if you actually figure out a lot about these folks, you will be able to unpack quite a bit during that conversation and really, kind of lead that conversation into a meaningful place. Because ultimately, and remember this, if you leave this morning with one piece of information, it is this: it is to find a way to leave an emotional imprint on the person that you're interacting with. Emotions are how we remember things, right? When we have extreme happiness, extreme sadness, our emotions are actually what leave the imprints on our minds, on our hearts. And so when you have these types of conversations, you're trying to leave some sort of an emotional imprint that will lead to that person really never forgetting you. And so when you are prepared for these conversations, meaning where did they grow up? Where did they go to college? Where did they go to high school? What are some of the things, some of the pivot points in their career? What happened during, 2001 when 9/11 happened? What happened during 2008 when the economy crashed? If you go way back, there's other events in the world that, sometimes make people pivot. And so when you understand those things, when you do the homework to do the research to understand, some of the things, some of the moves that these people may have made, some of the people that might have been mentors to them, and you understand some of those things, it really gives you a great opportunity to have a meaningful conversation. If you study the next level to this person, like, for example, who is their mentor? Who did they look up to? Who did they study? One of the things that I see often is Zig Ziglar. I just posted a quote from Zig Ziglar, but a lot of people had Zig Ziglar as somebody that they looked up to. So when you know a lot about Zig Ziglar and you can have those conversations or ask what a meaningful impact their mentor had on them, it's a great way to start conversation. It's a great way for you to share some of maybe what had an impact on you that Zig Ziglar shared. Mr. Calloway, who was on here, sent me Zig Ziglar's daily devotional. And so I read that every single day, right? And I have a lot of knowledge around that. So when I see somebody that I'm trying to have a conversation with that had Zig Ziglar as a mentor, it's a nice and easy way to have a meaningful and emotional conversation in some cases about the impact of that individual, of that mentor on these people. But the number one most important thing that you can do is be present, ask great questions, and just, make sure that it is a natural and normal conversation, because that's what these people are looking for. They're looking for people who are, not fanboys or fangirls, but real relationships that can add value to their life. And, it's not about what you can do for them. It's about how you can add value, how this relationship is going to take shape. And so through those conversations and through your ability to maintain confidence and maintain your composure through those conversations, you end up with really great relationships with people that, at some point in your life seemed out of reach. And so a lot of those conversations for me, a lot of those connections for me have come from other relationships that I've established and invested into, right? People introduce you, man, you should know this person. So again, your immediate circle, who is in that immediate circle? How can those people, kind of help you build this community of people around you? And then, through that community, you're going to meet a lot of people, man. You're going to get introduced to quite a few people that can make a massive impact on your life. And then, once you get into those conversations, being comfortable, being confident, being present, being prepared is everything, man. It is so important for you to be able to tactically handle those conversations and, making sure that you are present enough to understand that, it's not all about you and telling your story. In fact, one of the things that I really focus on is trying to leave that person with curiosity about me, with curiosity about what it is that I'm doing, curiosity about, who I am. And, in a lot of ways. So I'll give them, bits and pieces, but I try not to talk so that at the end of that conversation, their natural feeling would be to want to learn more or to have another conversation. So if you think about that, if you talk 10% of the time and let the other person talk 90% of the time, and you can do a great job of asking them questions and carrying on the conversation, those relationships really do just develop naturally through, high level conversations with high level people, right? And so how do you get high level conversations started? Well, you have to put in the work, right? You got to do the things that other people wouldn't do. You research them, you figure out what's important to them, you listen closely. If you were to go through my phone, I take notes on everyone and everything because it's hard to remember, right? We meet a lot of people and sometimes it's hard to remember all of the things. But if somebody tells me about their children, their family, what's important to them, they get real. I can see their physiology change when they talk about something that they do, a hobby that they have. I jot that down on my phone. If somebody mentions their birthday to me, I jot that down in my phone because I think those are really important things to remember in order to make other people feel significant and seen, heard, and appreciated. And that is ultimately how you actually tactically build high-level relationships with other people. And it's about investing over and over and over again, because the investment of time, the investment of conversation, the investment of somebody getting to know you is actually how trust is built, right? And the more that you invest and the more time that you spend getting to know someone and the more time they spend getting to know you, that relationship becomes much less likely to be breakable or fragile because of their ability to have trust in you. It takes years to develop those relationships to a point where they're almost unbreakable, right? Where there's just a lot of trust, a lot of stability there. And that happens through multiple conversations over a long period of time. And I think, as I said yesterday, that's one of the things that people really do not do well in today's world. They think that because of the accessibility factor of someone, it leads them to be able to just build a really quick relationship and then, treat that person as if they're, a close friend. And that's not how it works, right? I see, in fact, people using, the word, this is my good friend, when somebody is not a good friend. Be careful of that, because that person is going to see that and say, I'm not really that good of a friend with that person. And that, that can damage trust, right? So, but as you invest time, as you listen, as you have multiple conversations, and as you continue to be present and act accordingly to, the discussion that we just had here today, just, be present, be normal, have meaningful conversation, and show up prepared of how to have that conversation. These relationships will develop for you, and they will become extremely valuable, both, on a personal level, just, how they fill you up, having these relationships, and also from a business standpoint, many of these relationships will open doors that are quite incredible over time. And so that's my advice for you this morning. I will share with you one more thing, completely unrelated to this conversation, but I found it to be a really interesting thing that I observed this morning. I got to the gym early this morning, as always, and I walked into the gym and I looked at Mark Forelli. We were there working out together, and I said, boy, not a lot of people showed up today on July 1st, right before the long holiday weekend. The parking lot was empty. The gym was empty. Nobody was working out. And lots of people going out like a mouse this week, guys. So the question is, how are you going to go out today? What's it going to look like? How is your day going to finish? How was your weekend before the long weekend going to start, right? Is it going to start at noon, or is it going to start at 3? Perspective, man. This is your opportunity to gain distance on the competition, to gain distance on your former self. Play to the whistle today, guys. Leave it all on the field. Play like a champion, man. Don't go out like a mouse. Go out like a lion. Appreciate you guys. I will see you Tuesday morning. same place, same time. Can't tell you how much I appreciate you guys showing up here, man. It's good to see everybody this morning. Let me say good morning to some folks before we take off here. David Martin, what's happening, brother? Bruce Mills, Chris Filippelli, Rick, Jeff Nelson, my brother. Good morning to you, man. Good to see you on here. Kevin Campbell, Lillian Calloway, Rick, Debbie, Nick, Gary, Tony, John, Keith, Tammy, Steve, Stephen, Daniel Good, Christina, Catherine, good morning to you. Rick, I don't know if I said your name already. John Stanton, I hope I didn't miss anybody. But, man, good morning to you guys. I hope you are off to an awesome start this Friday. Crush it today. Leave it all on the field. Happy 4th of July to you guys. We live in the greatest country in the world. Celebrate that this weekend, man. Be kind to people. Hold the door for people. Set the example of what you want to see in the world. And I will see you guys Tuesday morning, same place, same time, right here on Morning Perspective. I love you guys. Thanks for being here.
It is ultimately important for you to look at your goals, truly what you want to do in your life, and then look at the people who you spend the most time with in your life and figure out if that lines up.